Hello everyone, we are here, we are live, we are ready to go, and we are back in Kerbal-sized real solar system. So for those people that don't know or maybe new to this series, this is the real solar system mod, but shrunk down to Kerbal size. So this is Earth that we're on, and we have a regular moon and a regular orbit, and all the rest of the planets that are part of our solar system. But they've all been scaled down to Kerbal size, and that was really done for kind of pacing reasons, mostly because I find myself every time I do these streams, I kind of rush myself and get myself into trouble, which honestly is probably some of the fun. But if I were playing real solar system, that would just have that game just drag on and on and on. But if you want that experience, I do have an RP1 series that you can check out as well if you haven't already done so. And the next episode, in fact, is coming out this Saturday. So anyway, enough of all of that. Let's just sort of take a look at what we have going on. So we have Kerbal construction time, which means that we have to build our rockets and upgrade our facilities, and all those things take time. And right now I have a vessel here called the Octo 7, and it's going to take a little less than 2 days to complete its build. It's just barely gotten started. Now, some people might recall that last week I had an Octo 7 in the building queue, and then I deleted it, and then I found out later, I realized that I actually had built that thing for a very specific contract to put a rocket into a very specific orbit of the Earth. I had to have a Science Junior aboard, and then I just went and deleted it. So I want to get that contract out of the way. So I got this building first. I also want to do, because last week I unlocked a lot of new tech, and I want to kind of build some better rockets that are hopefully not quite so janky. I do have contracts to rescue a couple of Kerbals, rescue Dino and rescue Javier from orbit of the Earth. However, they're a little trickier than they sound, because as is wont in the stock contracts, they're in equatorial orbits, which in the stock game makes it easy, but unfortunately this is Cape Canaveral, and we are located at a latitude of about 28 degrees, which makes getting into an equatorial orbit actually quite expensive. So what I want to do is build a crew-capable vessel that's capable of doing that. So that is one of my goals today. Another goal for today is I do have these SCANsat missions as well, to map altimetry scan and a multispectral SCANsat survey of the Earth. And those have been putting off on and on, off and off and on. I want to, again, use some of my new technology, build some better vehicles to deal with those ones as well. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, let's just get really quickly into mission control. Let's go. You can go on all and see all the contracts that are available, but I like it this way where they're kind of categorized for you. So I just want to take a look. I'm not going to worry about relays yet. I just want to make sure there's nothing here, because I've been missing contracts lately. Advanced piloting. What is this? Reach an equatorial orbit, and then, oh my god, reach an equatorial orbit and then make a plane change of 45 degrees. Again, it's assuming you're starting. Okay, I'm not going to play with K-planes today. We do have a first EVA contract. Okay, launch a new vessel, at least one Kerbal aboard, and do an EVA. Okay, let's grab that one. Move that out of the way. I actually have done EVAs. Yes, I have. But that's for the future. And then there's some here that I'm just not going to do. Let's see, what else we got? We have a manned orbit. Put a Kerbal in orbit for 30 days. Something for the future. I am playing with Kerbalism, which means you have to think about life support, as well as comfort for your Kerbals. The Kerbals tend to go a little bit squirrely if you keep them cooped up for too long, but that's something definitely to work towards soon. I'm not going to look at part testing. We got our 2 rescue contracts. Are any of these other ones about to come? See, if one's about to expire, this one says he's stranded in orbit of Earth. That's always, when it doesn't say low orbit, you got to be a little careful of that. And this one says who's stranded in orbit of Earth 2. This one expires in just 4 hours. This one, you know what? I'm going to grab these. I'm probably not going to do them today, but just to have them in. Oh, I should have grabbed this one first. Oh well. I just realized I'm at 7 contracts, and that's the maximum. Can I afford to upgrade this? Oh, but it doesn't help me anyway because... No, never mind. Okay, so that was a mistake. I'm only allowed to have 7 contracts and... Oh, well, that's what that is. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get this Octo 7 built and launched. And I also want to build a couple of other vessels that are capable as I was describing. But I also have some KOS ideas. So let's just jump into the vehicle assembly building just real quick. Because I've been making some improvements to my KOS scripts that I want to show you that I think are working a little bit better. One of which is the orbital program that I wrote. But first, what I want to show, let's get out the Octo 7. So it's a little bit, it's a little funky looking because it's an older crap. It is what it is. And I want to, if I go, let's open up Visual Studio here, show you this. So I got, there we go. Maneuver functions here. These are functions that are associated with just orbital maneuvering. So for instance, this one here will execute a maneuver node called X maneuver. This one here will create a maneuver node to circularize, and you can have it circularize at the apoapsis or at the periapsis of your orbit. And this one here is for aligning solar panels, to get maximum exposure on your solar panels. But the thing is all of these are written as functions in this functions file. And what I'd like to do is write some programs to have them be available to any craft, so that you can just say, oh, go ahead and execute this maneuver for me, and it will execute the maneuver for you. So what I'm going to do, this should be pretty simple and pretty quick, is I'm going to create a new folder, new file, and we're going to call this one, and actually I don't want it here, but I'll move it. We're going to call this one, actually, why don't I call it the same thing as this, execute maneuver. So exe maneuver.ks. And we're going to move this, actually, just, can I move it just into the general scripts folder? Yeah, move. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't want it in this library folder. I want it in here. So this is just about, and all I got to do to execute one of these functions is, first of all, I have to import this library of functions, but I've done that kind of thing before. This is the line that does that. Run once path, the 0, which is the drive, library, which is the folder that they're in, and then the name of the file you would like it to, that it exists in. So I'm just going to copy that. Go back to here. I'm going to put that in there. And then I should have all of these functions here available to me. So what I'm going to do, this one, is simply, all I have to do is say Xman. And even, you can see here, it's recognizing it. A couple of brackets. Does it need parameters? I don't think it takes parameters. No, it does not. So I think that should be my whole program. So this is my Xman program. So this should be pretty simple. Let's save this. And let's see if we can put this to the test. So I'm going to go over to here. We're going to, I have saved this recently, yes. So we're just going to cheat menu this fella into orbit. And we're going to see how this works. So we're going to extend that antenna because I'm going to put you into orbit. We're going to use our simulation mode. Actually, I don't even need to use the cheat menu. You can do an orbit selection. I got to do an orbit of the Earth of, let's say, 80,000 meters, and we're going to do a simulation. So this is the KRASH simulator that actually allows me to do this. And I'm just doing this to execute my program. Shut down the editor. Thank you. I am the worst for that. For shutting down the editor. Thank you. I switch windows on my side. Forget that. That doesn't help you out. Okay, so here we are. So this is our program here. And if I list, this is the KOS window here. If I list, these are all the programs I have available. You can see here I now have my execute maneuver program that I wrote right here. So what we're going to do is create a maneuver. Here, let's get rid of all of this Stuff we just don't want to see. There we go. I'm going to execute a maneuver. Just put it out here. It's not going to be anything spectacular. There we go. That's it. And I'm going to go over to here. And we're going to see if this works. And I've not tested this. Might not work. I don't know. And all we got to do is say run that execute maneuver program. Let's see how it does. No active engines. Okay, so that's good. It's built into the program. So I need to activate this engine here. Oh, that's not a good thing. So let's run that again. Execute maneuver. Oh, okay. Seems to be happy now. So I didn't have it. So it is now putting itself onto the maneuver vector. And wow, the stock is saying that we got to start this burn in 10 seconds. It's coming up pretty quick. We'll see. My thing does calculate the length of the burn on its own. And then it calculates when it's going to start. Oh, there it goes. So it's starting a little later. That's okay. Not a lot of thrust. I should have... Oh, the thrust limiter is way down. I don't know why it is. Okay. So let's do a little bit of physics warping here. And see how it finishes us off. Now, you might recall that when I was doing this in a previous stream... that, let's pause this, that it would throttle down at the end, which was great, but it would throttle down way too much. Hopefully it'll deal with this a little better. There it goes, throttling down, and then it should stop at about 10% and finish off the burn. I'm super happy with that. I'm super duper happy with that. That came out really, really, really well. I'll show you in the code. This is done now. Program's ended. Show you in the code, what line did that. If I go to here and go to my maneuver executor, there's a bunch of stuff in here, but basically there's a command here to lock the steering to the maneuver node. There's a command to start the burn and then a command to end the burn. So it's the start the burn that I adapted a little bit. And by the way, I put all of this stuff up on my GitHub, and there's a link to that, there should be anyway, down in the description. And as well, on my Discord, we have a whole discussion group on this. So I'm not going to make this into a KOS tutorial, but I do want to show people kind of what is capable. Okay? So, oh, now open the editor. There we go. I'll get this eventually. So open the editor this time. So here is, I'll go back over just what I was just saying. So here is the execute maneuver function. There is a lock steering, which is just locking the steering to the maneuver node. There is a start the burn, and there is an end the burn. And it's the start the burn that I modified. So we got to go down here and find where I have this little helper function called start the burn. And this is all the stuff that starts the burn, but this is what I modified. It's down here. And this is what reduces the throttle. So basically what it's doing here is it's looking at the magnitude of the delta V of the maneuver node. So that is how much delta V is left in the burn. That's all that's left. That's what that's saying. And it divides that by the maximum acceleration of the craft, which is the acceleration that it's capable of right now. And it finds a number out of that. And then it also looks at the number 1. So this is really just a reaction to how much acceleration it's going to have. And whichever of these two is the lower of the two, that's the one it picks. So if this turns out to be a heck of a lot of acceleration, it'll just say, no, we're gonna set the throttle at just 1. That's 100% throttle. But if it turns out that this number actually starts to get lower than the 1, then what it does is it sets the throttle at this number, which is just going to be a decreasing fraction as this magnitude decreases, as what's left in the burn decreases. But that turned out to it like just decreasing, and at the end it was like such tiny amounts of throttle, it was just ridiculous, and it was taking forever just to finish the burn. So I surrounded that with a maximum to say either this number that you calculate here or this one, whatever is larger. So basically when this calculation gets lower than 0.1 or 10% throttle, it will stop at 10%. that's what that does. So now the minimum throttle is only down to 10% and it stops. So that's what I was going to show people. Now what I'm also going to do is make some functions for this align the solar panel and a circularize at. So let's make those right now. So this is going to be really, really quick. So basically here we're going to make a new file. And it keeps making them in the library. I don't want to make them there. But this one is going to be for circat. .ks. And then I want to make another new one. If I do it here, does it come? No, it still comes there. I don't know. Whatever. And this one is going to be for align. .ks. And we're going to make these work for us. So we're going to move these here. It doesn't seem to light, but it does. Oh, just don't ask me again. When I say to do that, just move that. Okay. So the let's see. Align. Let's take a look at the alignment command here. So the alignment command here does take a panel for the orientation. So the alignment can either be normal, which is mean I want you to line up along the normal vector, or dorsal. This is when you have solar panels on the top and the bottom of the vector the vessel that extends, and you would like those to be maximally exposed. So basically I want to here create the exact same parameter. So parameter, and I can even call it the same thing. What did I call it? Because these are in two different files. Orientation. And we'll start with a D. D is going to be for dorsal, which is going to be, actually I'm going to make the default. No, that gets confusing if I make it different. Okay. There. And I also need, I'm forgetting this too, I need this line. Okay, and basically now, I just want you to run, what was it called again? It was called align with that, whatever the orientation is. That should do it, so I should save that. Let's test this one. So basically over here now, I should, if I list what I got, I should now have an align program, which is right there. And if I run align along the normal vector by putting an N in there, look at that. So it's lining it up for those solar panels. It should stop on this north line somewhere. It is taking into account the inclination of the orbit, but now look, these solar panels are now getting a nice little orientation with it. And it says here, when you're happy with it, you just press delete and it so that's working. That's working. Okay, so last one, I want to do this circat. And if we take a look at the circularization here, there is a circ at apo and a circ at periapsis. That's the other one. So I want to take this line. I'm just going to actually copy that. Go over to circat. Copy that parameter. I also need this importing in all those functions. That goes up there. And then finally, we're going to run circat, whatever location. Whoops, I got that bracket the wrong way. Circ at location lock. Okay, we'll save that one and we'll see how that works. So this program, what it should do is if I go to here, if I go list, I should now have a circat program. I do, it's right there. And if I run circ at apo, what it should do is create a maneuver that will circularize at apoapsis. So what I'm going to do is go out to map view. Oh my God, I'm doing it again. If I go out to map view and hit enter, there's too much flipping back and forth. There it goes. It created that maneuver for me. All right, and just to show you, I can now delete that. So that's working. That's working. Back to here. That's nicely aligned. You didn't get to see that. I'm sure the window was over top of it. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should do less of these KOS things. But anyway, that's all good. All right, so let's terminate this simulation. That's enough of that. Actually, there's one more thing. Is this thing does have a boot file called basic boot. So I want to take a quick look, and this time I'm going to really try. Maybe I need to write a note to myself to just remember to close this. If I take a look at basic boot right here. Okay, that's my basic boot. I want to create a new boot folder. New file. Here we go. Oh, there we go. And this is going to be load software boot .ks. Okay. So it's going to take this basic boot file. I'm going to just copy all that. Go to here. I want to copy that. So I want all this stuff. This is basically just what switches it to the archive and opens up the window. But then I want to load that software that I just created automatically into the program. Yes, even if it's not pre-launched, this is exactly what I want to do. So now what I want to do is I want to load that, and the line for that is copy path. And I want to copy path, need to have that. The programs are all stored in the archive, which is the basic drive. Make sure I got the slash the right way. And then the first one's called exe maneuver. And that is the line that should load that file onto the actual ship itself, so that I don't have to, it's going to carry these programs with it. And I'm also going to do copy path. Here, actually, why don't we just copy and paste this one. Boom, and boom. And we also have that align program. And we also have the, what was the other one called? It was called Circat. And now instead of running these programs from the KSC, that we're going to run them from the ship. That's going to be the idea. Okay, so this one's called load soft boot. Okay, so closing this. Back to here. Now I think I have to reopen this vessel. Yeah, because it's not in the whole thing anyway. But reopen this and go to here and select my boot file. I now have that load soft boot, and that will load this. You'll see how this works in just a little bit. So I'm going to save this. Now the thing is, please no more KOS. Some people like the KOS, some people don't. So I do little bits of it. I did do a ton of it on my free time. But you know, to each their own. If people really hate the KOS, you know, let me know down there, and I will never ever talk KOS again. I'm not doing this to save time. I'm doing this to because it takes me more time, to be honest, to do it now. But I'll leave it for people. If you don't want to see it, let me know down in the comments. Not in the chat right now because I'll miss some of it. Let me know in the comments. Never ever show me KOS again, and I'll never show it again. There we go. So anyway, where are we at? Oh yeah, I gotta go to here, and I gotta go to edit this, because that's the one that was already being built. Did I do a wrong thing there with the, sorry, and I'll put this on a load soft, and we'll save these edits. Okay. So now when that's there, yeah, I try to keep it to somewhat of a minimum, like, because, yeah, but I mean, you saw the code that's there. Clearly, I'm not going to go over all of that. Somebody was saying something about, sorry, That shouldn't that be, these should be zeros. That's right. Oh, I'm missing the colons. Maybe that's, yes I am. I'm missing the colons. Colon. And colon. This is the other reason why I don't want to do a lot of this live, because I make those kind of dumb mistakes. I think that should be good. Save that. Okay. Turn that off. There we go. Back to here. Okay. Next step. Next step is I want to build a decent orbiter. That's my job. That's what I want to do. I want to build a new orbiter with the vessel, with the new parts that I have unlocked. So let's get rid of you and open up. This is the Onion 1. So this is an I mean, it can make it to orbit. It can carry a single Kerbal in this Onion capsule. Can do some science and stuff. But what I would like to do is get rid of this. I would like to build an Onion 2 that is just way more capable. Has more delta V, basically. That's it. Unfortunately, I don't have better capsules. I could technically take 2 of these and do this kind of thing, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. But what I want to do is I want to build... Why do I have that stupid window there now? Oh, that's not annoying at all, is it? Oh. When I hover over some windows, it disappears. If I get rid of that Werner checker, will it? No, it's still there. It has something to do with the Werner checker. I can see that. Because what's... Oh, it went away once I did that. Okay. Let's get rid of the Werner checker for now. Okay, that's fixed. Okay. Put on a parachute. Right away. I always like to put on the parachute. And now what I want to do is build something. Now I do have more fuel tanks than I had before. And I also have, this has got me a little excited, the Terrier engine, which is just a way better engine. So let's see if, I'd love to get something that's in, let's see what we can get. So is that my biggest LFO tank? I think it is. Well, I guess I got this adapter. Well, that's interesting. But then this is my biggest tank there. Yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from that. Let's just go with this guy. Let's go with just a couple of them for now. What's this one? Oh, that's kind of nice. If I arrange these by mass, that always gives me what the biggest ones are, doesn't it? So 1,350 units of fuel in that. This is actually smaller. How is that smaller? It looks a lot bigger. Oh, whatever. We'll see if I go there. Right now, though, let's put a Terrier on the bottom of this. That's the Spark Terrier. And why do I have, like, 0 delta V? There we go. Oh, wow, that's a lot. That's already a lot. The reason why I don't want to go up to the bigger diameters because this is my biggest, widest tank, and I don't want to build a whole rocket out of those. But this is pretty good here. I might just... I mean, look at that. That's a beautiful thing. Let's stick a service module in here. One of these. We'll stick a probe core in it right now because I'd like it to be able to fly autonomously if it can. I think my best probe core is the Hex. I believe it is. We'll stick that in there. We'll also put on what do I got for reaction wheels? I do have these small ones. I think I can just sneak these in here. I like that. I like that. I like that. I thought you said you need crew capsules. I only have the one crew capsule. I'm not sure what, sorry, that was in reference to. Is there any science that can be? I don't think so. What about this guy for science? I don't know if I have new science or not. Configured unmanned experiments. There's a telemetry report. There's a thermometer. Geiger counter. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The light experiment. These are new. So space slow. They take just 10 seconds to do. I don't need a telemetry report. And I have the might experiment. Requires me to go into an inclined orbit. Not going to do it with this one just yet, but in the future. And then the sight experiment, the survey interplanetary trash experiment. This takes an hour to do. Space low, space high, and biome specific when in space high. I mean, I got a capable craft. I might just... It doesn't hurt to get more science, and then none. So let's actually get both of those running. There we go. No, I'm not going to pick up both people at the same time. So I'm going to pick up one, and then I'll go pick up the other one. I don't want to do the too crude one. I'm mostly thinking about re-entry being a pain. So I'm just going to go one at a time. But I think that's looking pretty good. And I like all that DV that it has. So what I want to do next, I'll put a antenna on here. We're also going to need to put on... Actually, it doesn't need a big one. It just needs the little one. Is this should be on with this is, let's take a look at the Kerbalism window. I got to think about life support and all that kind of stuff. So you can see here with food, whoever's in this thing will have 5 days of food, 5 days of water, 5 days of oxygen. That's built right into the capsule. I don't see a reason to modify that. So we're only going to go into low orbit for now with this, if we get more ambitious. Now, one thing I am noticing is that the electricity will only run for 7 minutes and 45 seconds, mostly because I think of the experiments that are involved. If you highlight it, there we go. We've got scrubbers, sensors, but communications, climatization. But experiments, are they on the list? I'm going to assume they are. Oh, sensors, yeah. So I want to be able to run for a longer period of time. So we're going to need to put some batteries on here. Now, I don't know where I'm at with my batteries. I do have a... So I'd love it to go... What is it? 90 minutes? No, gosh, this is Kerbin scale. Dummy, I was thinking real world. It's like half an hour in orbit, so 20 minutes. If I can do 20 minutes, that should comfortably get across the night side. Let's see. What if I put on 4 of these fellas? Trying to hide them in here. Now let's go 20 minutes. That should be fine. I think that should be fine. We'll put in one more just to fill up that spot. And then this will close still. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Okay. There we go. Oh, I want to put a KOS probe core, processing core on here, because I will be running KOS programs with this. I will be also solar panels. I do want to generate some electricity. So the batteries are really just for getting across the night side. I'll put on 6 of these. That should be fine. There is one setting that sort of takes into account the orientation. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And I don't know. Let's go take a look at my checklist and see if I'm not forgetting. So we have a KOS processor. We have the KOS flight program. That's going to be that orbit program. Put in the boot file. That's going to be that load soft boot. There we go. With science has been configured. The experiments are on, correct? Experiments are on. Experiments are on. Where do I have it? Oh, they're in the probe core. I forgot about that. That's where the experiments are. Yep. There is a crew report here that I could do. Yep. Okay, experiments are on. There's enough data storage, I think. There is... I think so. We're not going to collect any samples. There's 64 megabytes. You know what? I'm not going to go through the numbers. I'll assume there are. Not going to collect any samples. Communications is there. There's electrical storage, electrical generation, attitude control. There's the reaction wheels. That'll be fine. Food, water, and oxygen I checked. Radiation protection should be okay because we are going to be staying below the radiation belts, so we should be fine that way. An abort system. Yes, I want to build in some sort of abort system. So what I was thinking is if I took... Do I have those little tiny Sepratron motors yet? I don't. Shoot. Shoot. Like that's too much. Shoot, I was hoping I had little Sepratrons and I could put a little ring of Sepratrons on here to blast this away like as a launch escape system, but I don't have that. So instead what I think I will do just for my abort system is go to action groups, go to the abort action group, and for the abort action group we're going to stage this. You should be able to just do it this way. Decouple that, and we're going to wait. I guess that's it. It's not much. I guess that's it. That's oh wow, that's all our that's our abort system right there. We'll decouple the capsule and hope for the best. Engine upgrades. Good call. You can make these engines more reliable by upgrading them. So right now the engine quality is standard. We get 23 ignitions in 4 minutes and 46 seconds of burn time. And if I put this to high, it's now 19 minutes of burn time and 42 ignitions. But the cost goes up, and the delta V, if you look, comes down a little bit. And the reason the delta V is coming down is because the mass is increasing. I think I'm going to keep it on standard because these are going to be one-off type of vessels. When I build something that's meant to stay in orbit, then I'll put these up to high. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it where it is. Okay, so I'm thinking... Okay, what else? What else? What else? We did the abort system, engine upgrades. I'm not going to worry about it. Redundancy. Ooh. I made all these things... Reliability. Is there a redundancy? I think it's under reliability. Redundancy is poor. There it is. There's only one means of life support, one means of landing, 2 means of attitude control. Yep, because there are 2 sets of reaction wheels. 6 means of power generator. You know what? I think it's okay. The redundancy's fine. This thing's not going to be in orbit for long. I still don't think I have lights unlocked. I don't. So too bad. Textures and painting. Do I have any? I don't think I have a whole lot of options on this front, unfortunately. What about on the Terrier? What do we got for options down there? Not a heck of a lot. Tell you what, why don't we make this bottom one orange and make these dark. I don't think there's any options with this. No, we'll go with that. How about this? I do have, don't I have simple? Yeah, I do have simple repaint. I could paint these. Brown, light gray, dark. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. There's my painting. TWR for now. Oh, I still got to put a booster under this, so this is going to be about it. Let's put some action groups together for this. So this is going to open up the doors on 0 and toggle this antenna. That's it. Okay. All right, let's build a booster under this fella. So we're going to close those. And we're going to go to decoupling. I do have... Oh my gosh, I still don't have the TD-12 decoupler. However, somehow I do have the engine plate. I can't believe I still only have the TD-6. But isn't the engine plate have a built-in decoupler? It does. So isn't this going to work for me? Am I crazy? And then I can just do this? Or is that not going to work for me? I want to just check this staging out. Just a second. I always get confused with these decouplers. Oh, do you see auto strut now as an option too? Heart. Auto struts. Yeah, so I have an auto strut as an option now. I've unlocked the appropriate technology. I just want to see that this stage works the way I want. So I'm just going to save this really quick. Run a really quick simulation. I always get confused with where the staging is on those engine plates. So it's kind of weird. I got a 1.25 meter engine plate, but not a 1.25 meter decoupler. I find that weird. You need it below the engine, or you'll drop the engine too. Okay, well, we're gonna let's see. Or am I crazy? I don't know. One of us is crazy. One of us is crazy. So let's see. So I'm just gonna stage here. Yeah. Of course, I don't have any. I don't know what just happened. I think these are still stuck to the engine. So I staged, but I don't think anything happened. Okay, they're that. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's end this. Terminate the simulation. I could just squeeze in that smaller decoupler. It'll just look bad. Engine plates go above. Okay, so if the engine plate goes above the engine, right? So I have it right? Is that... Oh, but I put that on the engine. That was my mistake. Oh my gosh. That was my mistake. There we go. So, I should be able to shrink this down, right? Pin this. I locked that to the... I put that on the engine. That's too short. That should do it. Okay, let's save this one more time. Make sure I'm not crazy. So save and simulate. I hooked the tanks right to the engine. That's what I did wrong. That was silly. All right, so now if we stage, fire up that engine, we should be flying off. No. What am I stuck to? Oh no, it's fine. It's just I don't have enough TWR. That's all. Okay, I think that's working the way I want. That was a bad test, but it's only a test. Okay, terminate. I think the decoupling's working the way I want. Yeah, the Terrier at sea level has no thrust, so it wasn't able to take off. I should have realized that. Okay, so what I got now is, and again, this is my biggest 2.5 meter. At least I don't have the part restrictions that I was running into before, so I can just build a really long booster. I could also, I might get back to doing this, is if I get my Mark 1 liquid fuel cans, because I still don't have, I find that annoying, and just use the tank editor. There it is. So this is the tank configurator mod or something to that effect. I always get the name wrong. Change those to from liquid fuel to LFO tanks, max those out, add them in. Bob's your uncle. They are now LFO tanks. Very happy with that. And what I want to do, I might need to have multiple engines to lift this up, is put a... Oh, wait. Oh, I'm getting some bigger motors. Okay, hang on. There's the swivel. But I got the Kodiak. And I got... That's smaller. So my Kodiak is my biggest LFO engine. Oh, and it's a 1.25 meter engine. Okay. Oh, that is a lot of thrust. That is a lot of thrust. Let's add a few more of these on. I think I'm going to be able to build myself a pretty mean machine here. Now, I would like to be up there with a couple of thousand meters per second of delta V. It's about 3,600. So I'd love to have a total of about 5,600. This TWR is getting a little bit small, I think, for that intermediate stage. So yeah, 2 is good. I like the number 2. So I'm thinking of something like this. You can put a boat tail around it. Oh, and these are bigger. Okay. But I'm going to go to that one. I like that. So with the Kodiak engine, I like that. And then we'll do some... Oh, I still got... Oh, no, that's just the shroud there. Okay. And we'll put on some liquid fuel radial booster type things. So I still only have these little teeny ones. Not exactly a fan of that. 2 of those. I just want a copy of that tank. Like that. Now, is the Kodiak, is it gimbally? That's a word, gimbally, right? I don't see... I do not see that it is gimbal-rific. I think it's got a lot of thrust, but no gimbal on it. Is that right? Engine reliability. I think that is right. So I would like to have... Well, you know what? I do have the big advanced inline stabilizers. I'm sure that'll do the trick. So just what I'm thinking here is like that, and then maybe because this isn't gimbaled, maybe a couple of the swivels here as kind of radial boosters, so to speak. Put that there. What'd I say? 30? That's a ton of DV. And a pretty decent TWR at the bottom, too. Boat tails on that. I don't think... Do I have... Oh, I have fuel lines. I do. Oh, this could be... I could make this thing ridiculous. And then I'll put all engines on at the same time. And me likey quite a lot. That's a ton of DV at the top end. What do I got for a nose cone for the very top of this? Do I still not have the normal? Oh, there it is. That is the normal nose cone. I got to turn these down because that's a lot of DV. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely put some strutting on this guy. that's coming. That's coming. But what I'm thinking is, okay, let's turn down the launch thrust weight. There we go. 5670. I don't know if I even really trust that delta V number. What's... Of course, this is... I don't even know what stock's trying to tell me here. That makes no sense. Okay, we're going to put some struts on this. So I now have not only the auto struts, but also the physical struts. I'm going to take care of both of those. So we will do some strutting here. I think I can change the colors of these a bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice, okay. Do some strutting here. Might need some auto strutting. We'll play that one by ear. Do I have different textures for this shroud? That'd be nice. No, it doesn't. Okay, so we'll just leave it like that. Do you want these dark? We'll put those dark. Okay, have I done? I've done the TWR. I've checked my staging. So let's get rid of this checklist. There, that's gone. Okay. I'm thinking, we'll see how wobbly she is, but I'm thinking this might be pretty good the way it is. So what I'm thinking is if I put on some launch clamps, like that, and like this. Oops. And put all our engines here, like that. All right, and maybe do some auto strutting in between, but I'm going to try it just like this, I think, for now. I think I'm pretty close. How about engine reliabilities? Do I want to upgrade this? So this has, well, it has 3 ignitions. That's pretty good. And burn time of 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And these guys on the side, oh, they're good too. I think I'm going to let's just leave everything the way it is. What I might just do is just do a little bit of tweaking here. I'm trying to get just a decoupler there. Slide these up. And slide these ones down. And all I'm doing, by the way, is just matching these lines up. 100% aesthetic choice I just made there. But if these are also a little higher on the booster, hopefully it'll help push those boosters away. I still don't have separatrons. Need some fins, yes, definitely. Definitely want to get some fins on here. Thank you. Where are those little bitty ones? These guys. Four fins down here at the bottom should be fine. I'm actually going to translate them down a little bit too. Kind of clipping into the strut a bit, but if I slide them down so they're on a little bit of that engine covering at the bottom. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. Let's save this. Let's give her a sim and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, the pod at the top is very draggy. That is very true. We'll see how stable this is. It's much better. I don't even know. I don't know if I have a 1.25 meter fairing, but it is much better to try and enclose this in a fairing. I didn't even look to see if I have a fairing. So I should now have an orbit program. So what I'm going to do, let's get rid of our contracts here. I don't care about that. Is I'm going to run my orbit program. And this is an orbit program that I showed last week too. But I have made an improvement. So I'm hoping that the improvement will work. We'll see what happens. The one thing I do is I stage the launch clamps manually. It's not part of the program because I want to see all 3 of these engines fire. Because of Kerbalism, one of these engines could potentially fail to ignite, and then you obviously don't want to release the launch clamps. So that's why I do that part manually. And it's better too, because if you don't release it, you can recover it back to the vehicle assembly building, fix your engine, and push it right back out, and it takes a very short period of time to do that. Okay, so, I don't have any staging built into this, so I'll have to... There's no auto staging, so I'll have to watch this and do the staging myself. Right now, though, so far so good. So get ready for the stage event here. There we go, and we've lost it. As soon as that happened, as soon as we didn't have the gimbaling, As soon as we didn't have the gimbaling, and again, it's all that drag up at the top. Okay, we'll have to fix that. As soon as we lost that gimbaling... Oops, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. There we go. Terminate the simulation. Back to the VAB we go. Is the fuel flow the way I want? I think it was. Was that... I think that tank was full when it went on there. No, there is no gimbaling on that Kodiak engine. Now, I wonder... Again, I'm just not used to this tech tree. Do I have any kind of small, gimbally kind of engines? Like, I do have these spiders. Could they potentially give me enough? They're so little thrust, though. I don't know if they'd be enough. Like, I was thinking of something that could go down here to act as vernier engines. No. So what I'm going to do... I have the big pay... I do have fairings here. Alright. Okay. Alright, let's think about this. Now, how do I want to do this fairing? I mean, the simplest thing to do would be to put it down here and just build the fairing around. That itself might fix it. Sometimes I like to put these on upside down, but I think that parachute's in the way. Trying to think. Yeah, I think I'm just going to... Just thinking where it should go. Maybe here. No, let's put it here. So I'm going to build the fairing around this. And I'm hoping that will help with that. Okay, around like that. Around like that. And like that. I'm hoping that will help with the whole draggy bit of that stupid pod up there at the top. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we're gonna save this again. Now what I like to... Where's this fairing? You never quite know where the fairing's gonna go. So what I like to do is put it in its own action group. And deploy it, so it's going to be on action group 5, and then I like to take it right out of the staging diagram. Because it's hard to tell sometimes in the stack where exactly you're going to end up staging that. Okay, and then we're going to put this on, let's say, 3 sides, lots of ejection force, clamshell deploy. I could put bigger fins down here on the bottom, or movable fins, that's true. But I'm trying to sort of... I don't like ginormous fins, really. But we'll see what we get. Let's see if this does the trick. That might do the trick. Hopefully it didn't add too much weight, too. Okay, so let's run that orbit program again. Again, watch to see if all 3 engines ignite. They didn't. See, so that's why I was quick on the draw there. The middle engine exploded, in fact. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're and restart the simulation. Oops. A little quick on the draw. You hate the... I love those roundy capsules. I'm aesthetically, I'm a big fan of them. Okay. Again, I'm not going to be so quick to release the launch clamps this time. Did it again! Oh my gosh. Maybe I should upgrade the reliability on those engines. Restart one more time. I did not change the launch TWR. That could be that might be an issue too, but One thing at a time. I didn't, yeah, because there's definitely more mass because of the fairing now. But see if we can at least get this thing going in the right direction. All right. There's that. I kind of like also getting these onion, like these round capsules before you get the sort of more American style capsules like the Mark I and that kind of thing, because I don't know, it gives you a reason to use them, I suppose, because they feel more primitive. So I think they should come out a little earlier. Okay, so let's again, I gotta watch the staging. And again, the big issue is when I lose the gimbling on these motors. So, which happened right at staging. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, okay. So I think I have managed to remove some of the drag up at the top. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And also what should be happening now is when this gets to 55 seconds, it's going to reduce the throttle. So this is one of the things I was playing with actually between the last stream and this stream more than what you just saw before, is adding in some stuff to look for the when we got to 55 seconds to apoapsis and reduce the throttle, and basically it's going to keep reducing that throttle to keep the time to apoapsis at 55 seconds to a point. At one point, it's going to stop doing that. And I'll show the little bits of code that do that in just a little bit. But it does make the ascent more efficient. It also makes this booster do all the work of all the ascent. You'll see at the end that the final circularization will be just trivial. And we'll do that with the orbiter. But I just find that, and I don't know, it kind of looks nicer too, I think. All right, that all worked really well. Yeah, this is the Kodiak engine, right? Yes. Which comes with the Making History DLC, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so I'm going to, at about 50 kilometers, I'm going to release that fairing. I don't think it's necessary anymore, and we could definitely lose that weight. So 55 seconds. Yep. Do that. And it's locking to the orbital prograde vector. Did that at the same time. Nice. Okay. And I'm also we're going to be losing this booster before we get to our target apoapsis, so I gotta get ready to stage that. And now we're on to this, and it's adjusted the throttle as well to the next engine. So you can see it's really throttled up, and again, it's going to keep that time to apoapsis at 55 seconds, which is great. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I am going to up, so what do I want to do? I want to up the reliability on those launch engines, because I think I didn't like getting those two failures. I also want to... What else do I want to do? I want to get the staging to be automatic. And anything else? Check the launch TWRs. Yeah, do that too. But no, I'm pretty happy. Alright, so at some point it's going to stop reducing this throttle. I can't remember. I think it gets down to 20% or 15% throttle. And then it stops reducing it because it just gets a little bit annoying that it keeps reducing the throttle and get the burn over with. And I got to do it without a Kerbal aboard as well, but that should be easy enough. I mean, just don't put the Kerbal. Kerbals just wait. It's not involved with anything. So let's see, what are we at? Our apoapsis is just about, this is where it's happening. Look at our periapsis. It's almost out of the negatives. So that's where this reducing the throttle really helps. It allows this upper stage engine to have a very low thrust to weight ratio too. And now you can see that time to apoapsis is starting to incline. It's not reducing the throttle anymore. So it's just going to go now until the apoapsis gets to, I think, 80? I think. Yeah, the Kerbals do like to sneak on and grab their seats, so we'll make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, we can open up our little doors here, deploy an antenna. Nicey nice. Oh, oh, oh. Game's already starting to think I'm in space. Or in orbit. I'm not quite in orbit. Okay, target apoapsis, and we got a 15 second burn here coming up. I'm curious on how it's going to handle this, because I'm going to actually reduce this thrust to weight quite a lot. That's better. Let's get to it and see what it does. It may burn a little late now, but I didn't like how short that burn was going to be. I could do it manually too. So sort of the last test here. I think it's going to burn a little late because I reduced the thrust to weight and this program set up before I did that. But it's such a tiny burn, I don't think it should matter. Burn complete already. Okay, that's not true. I'll do it. Okay, so it doesn't like really short burns. I'll do it this way. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Still has over 2,000 meters per second left. Lots of fuel. We'll be doing lots of different things. So you know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to revert. We're going to finish this off. We're going to start its build. So terminate that simulation. No mercy. If asking if he uses the KOS scripts that on his playthrough where he's using KSRSS at the 2.5 scale, will they still work? There is a half pitch altitude here. Let me just show this really quick because I wanted to show something else anyway. But if I go to my orbit program, there is this half pitch altitude, just to answer that particular question, and that's the altitude at which it's going to be at a 45-degree pitch. You'll probably want to increase that, and you probably also want to increase, this is the altitude at which it locks to prograde, you might want to increase that as well. But otherwise, yeah, it should be okay. The other thing I wanted to show people, just again really quickly, was how I got it to reduce throttle. So that is in these launch functions, and it is down here on the gravity turn section right here. So this moderates the thrust to keep the time to apoapsis at 55 seconds. So I'm actually using a PID controller. It's the built-in PID controller in KOS. I'm not going to go over it in huge details. If you want huge details on how to create PID controllers, you can do what I did, which was go to Brickamas website and look at his KOS playlist, and he goes over it in wonderful detail and really presents it well, so it's there for you to understand. But basically what I'm doing here is I don't know, what am I doing? Oh yes, I set a target ETA to apoapsis, which I believe is set to be 55 seconds. It was way up there. So when my ETA to apoapsis gets to that target ETA -5, so in other words 50 seconds, that's when this statement kicks in. And basically it creates a PID controller. It has two variables have to go in the PID controller. One is always time, and the thing it's looking at is ETA to apoapsis And what do I do here? If the thrust setting is less than point... I've forgotten what... You know what? I'm not going to go over this because I've honestly forgotten how I did it. Oh, if the thrust setting is less than 0.95, it's just printing the message that I'm reducing the throttle now. That makes sense. And it's saying that this message has been printed, and that just prevents it from being printed again. And then here's the bit where it's if the thrust gets less than 0.2, then just set the thrust setting to 0.2, and then it will not go through the PID loop anymore. So that's the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. No more of that. No more of that. So back to here. What is it? The thing I wanted to take a look at launch TWR. Launch TWR is fine. I wanted to up the reliabilities on these engines. I did not like that they were failing on me. That bugged me. So we're going to make them more reliable. It makes them a little heavier and a little more expensive, but I think it's worth it. How's my TW? I'm going to increase the TW or the thrust limiter on these just a little bit because I just made those engines a little heavier. Great, great, great. That's cool. We're also going to do some auto staging, and we're going to use smart parts for this. So I'm going to get my DrainX smart part, and we're going to stick that. Actually, I'm going to stick it on the inside so it's a little less visible. Snap on right there. So this is a, let's get rid of this stupid checklist. The smart part, basically it's looking at the resource in here, liquid fuel, and if it gets down to 0, it's going to stage for me, and that will basically do the staging for me automatically. And then I'm going to put another one right here, and it's going to do the same thing. It's looking at the liquid fuel in this tank, and when it gets down to 0, it's going to stage, and then that'll do the staging for me automatically. And also, I'm not sure if I'm happy with this. Can I make this like dark or something? Ooh, that's very dark. Very dark at the top. It's the death fairing. Okay. Oh, and you know what else I should do? On my abort action group, staging that fairing would probably be a good idea now. So that the, yeah, that can get out of there. What do we think? Is that everything I wanted? I think that's everything I wanted. I think so. Oops, cancel. So save this. And we're going to show this stuff, put the plans up. We're going to build it, and we're going to add that to our plans. Okay, we got some stuff to do. Yep. So that's it. That's it. Let's do some missions. Let's do some missions. Oh, Cabot, doesn't matter that you're an hour late. I'm glad you're here. We were doing a lot of building, a little bit of KOSing, and now we're actually going to do ourselves some missions. I didn't build those new map sats, but maybe I'll put that off to next stream. I want to get some stuff done. So we got the Octo 7 coming up first, so let's do that. So let's build to get towards that Octo 7. Oh, that was the launch pad being reconditioned from last week. That is our Octo 7. We're going to roll it out. And we're going to launch it. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. For learning KOS, I'm being asked what resource tutorial would you use for learning KOS. I honestly think the best one I've seen, because it really gets it's really designed for people that have never coded before, is Brickamath's one, and I'm pretty sure I put the link down there in the description. If not, please let me know and I'll make sure to put it in there. There's also a guy by the name of Cheers Kevin if you want something that's a little less I guess a little less formal would be the right word. Not that there's anything wrong with formal. I learned lots from formal. But if you want something that's a little more free flow, I suppose, there's a guy named Cheers Kevin, does a very good job as well. Those would be the two I would say if you want to learn KOS. Cheers Kevin's probably better if you've done some coding in the past, just not KOS. And Brickamath's, I think, is better if you've never done any coding before. And part of it might be your personality. Okay, so this is our rocket. And we're going to do this, put a satellite into a specific orbit of Kerbin. And we're going to turn all of this junk out. And this is our orbit. And you can see it's not quite equatorial, is it? Inclination of just 2 degrees. I think I'm better off just... I'm not going to be able to get into an equatorial orbit, but I think I'm just going to launch it. Just launch it. I think I should have the DV to get this all done. I'm hoping anyway. So let's just run our orbit program. Get that. Delete all these messages. Boom. And we're going to run our orbit program. And hopefully all this will go well. Again, I'm going to make sure that engine lights. See, this is why I have the launch clamp. So engine just exploded, but that's not a big deal because the rocket is right here. So what we can do is we can recover the vessel and we can recover it back to the vehicle assembly building. Okay. Recover it back to the vehicle, and this should not take too long. See, if I let it go and the rocket exploded and all that kind of stuff, then I got to build a whole new one. But here, I think I should be okay. There's no link to Brickamat. Okay, I'll make sure to put it there. But thank you. I'm going to make a note to myself. I'm doing it right now, writing this down. KOS links. Okay. So... that's been recovered, but this should now be being recovered. See, it's going to take about an hour to recover, so we'll recover it. And now if I go to the VAB, you can see that my Octo 7 is there. I could roll it out again, but you might recall it has no engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit it. We're going to edit you. Okay, and you can see there's our no engine down there. So I believe it was a swivel down there on the bottom. I'm sure it was. So we're going to put another swivel on the bottom. Brand new engine for you. I think it was on boat tail. That doesn't matter. But I should take a look at... oh, the atmosphere must have been at full throttle. That is a low... it just... yeah, okay. And that should be it. So now what I should be able to do... check my staging, that's all good. It's just simply save my edits. And it shouldn't take too long for them to add on that new engine. So if I go back into the vehicle assembly building, oh, here it is. It's 3 hours and 10 minutes for them to put on the new engine. And then we can roll it out again. And hopefully this time, we'll have a little bit better luck. See how it goes. Let's hope this doesn't happen to the Starliner launch. They have way more safety checks than I do. They go a little beyond just the Werner checker. But one never knows. I mean, launch failures are a real thing, of course. Okay, let's try this again. So, Octo 7, get it on our contract right there. And we're going to run that orbit. Run orbit. And off. Off, off, off. Whoa, 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 whoa. She is wobbly. Who built this thing? Okay, I just turned down the gimbal limit. It really seems to... this is a rocket. It was weeks and weeks ago that I built it. It still is really... let's turn down that gimbal limit more. That's helping with the wobble. Auto strutting. I'm not going to auto strut. I think auto strutting in actual flight is kind of a... auto strutting is most of the way to a cheat anyway, but I think doing it in flights is super cheat. Okay. Okay, so, okay, we're past the scary stuff. How am I doing for... might as well run experiment... oh, wait. Oh, no, the material studies... I don't think there's any experiments worthy to run. I should probably take the temperature... oh, well, whatever. It's done now. I think I've collected all that science. Okay, we seem to be okay. If you take a look at our pitch thing bouncing up and down. But you know what's the easy fix for that is there. There we go. I don't have to look at that anymore. That's how you fix those kind of things. Okay, so we seem to be under some control now. I mean, all you gotta do is look at this thing and know that it's gonna be a janky experience. Alright, we're coming up to the point where it start reducing throttle. There we go. Again, the idea is that holding at about 55 seconds. And this is what I like to do when I fly it manually. It's just now it's doing it obviously with much, much greater efficiency than I could ever do. Now, I don't think the staging is going to be automatic. I don't see any smart parts in there. Nope. So we'll have to stage that part manually. This looks optimistic to me. Still a lot of delta V in this booster. About 1,400 meters per second. And it does make these take a little longer, but, you know, it gives you some more time to admire the view, right? In-flight auto-strut was blowing up your ship. Oh, well, maybe it's a good thing not to. In-flight auto-strut. Auto-strut, of course, is... I've always been very perplexed by wobbly rockets in KSP, and I can't decide. Part of me always thinks that it's semi on purpose because they know that YouTube videos of rockets going all wacky and blowing up actually helps sell the game. But then they put in the auto strut so that you don't, if you want to play the game legitimate, without driving yourself crazy, you can. Okay, how are we doing here? We are only at 64 kilometers on our apoapsis. We are getting close to when it will stop reducing throttle there. The time to apoapsis is starting to climb, so there we go. I'm not convinced this stage is going to run dry before we're cutting throttle. I don't think it is. A bad design. Yes, I wrote the KOS code for throttling back. I went over it very, very briefly, but no, KOS doesn't do it automatically. So I had to write the code to get it to adjust the throttle. KOS doesn't do much of anything automatically, to be quite honest. Okay, so we've reached our target apoapsis of 80 kilometers, and the engine has cut off. What I'm going to do really quick is turn down this throttle limiter before we actually get to space. So that oh, look at that. They're exactly the same. I like that. And that will help, I think, with my burn time calculation. If the TWRs of both these two stages are exactly the same. We'll see. But I had to do it before it got to space, because at space is where it calculates the I can say the words. The maneuver node. Boom. So there we go. So we got an 81.3 meter per second burn. And it's reorienting the vessel, believe it or not, onto the burn vector. It's doing it really slowly because the only attitude control are these reaction wheels, the little tiny guys right up there. But hopefully it can get itself, maybe if I do a little physics warping, it can get there a little quicker. But it's only an 81.3 meter per... Oh, but that's going to exhaust this first stage. That might be good. So maybe that first stage will burn up on its own, and I won't have to... Oh. Let it settle itself down before I do any more time warping. There we go. I'm going to do an F5 here. I'm just a little nervous that it's going to do this the way I hope it does. Okay. Almost 15 seconds to the burn. Or at least that's what this is saying. I don't know what this is going to do. They're quite often a little bit off from each other. Oh, it's pretty close. Okay, so I gotta get ready to do the staging event because it's not gonna do it automatically. And it's still going. Oh, it's reducing the throttle a lot though. I don't like that. Because this is already a pretty wussy engine. Yeah, oh, it's not. It's pretty good. Oh, it's 80 by 80 as far as I'm concerned. I like that. All right. So we're going to get rid of this. Program has ended. I'm going to switch this over to 1. 1 is the actual probe core that's in the rocket. So now rather than running programs from the KSC, we should be running programs from the actual ship itself. And if I go list, I should have 3 programs aboard. I don't have any aboard, so that didn't work. Okay, so now I'm going to switch back to the KSC. Oh, switch back to 0. Okay, I'll have to look at that boot file. That didn't work. Now if I have list, I should have things like that align and stuff. Yes, so let's run the align program onto the normal vector. So let's do that. And while it's doing that and sorting itself out, let's get out to that orbit. So boom, boom. Okay, this is our orbit. And are we really close right now to the I think we're a little too close to the descending node. So I'm going to go at it from the other side here. So I'm trying to put this maneuver right underneath the ascending node. We'll burn out towards the descending node on the other side. I can see I'm missing a little bit, but that should just be adjusted just with a bit of timing. And basically I want that apoapsis right on the DN. That's pretty darn close right now. And then we'll do this burn. And then off a bit. Back a bit. That's pretty darn close. And then we'll make the inclination change and the actual insertion all at the same time. Okay, how is this guy doing? Is he actually, where is it? Where are you? It is orienting, it's just very, very slow. Oh no, it's oriented for the solar panels. Lovely. Lovely. It always does that little turn. Oh, do I have that on an action group, the antenna? I do. There we go. Beautiful. Clipped into the ship. Well designed there. Okay. Hit delete, and that does that. And now what I want to do is F5 again. Let's time warp so we're closer to the maneuver node. Oh, it just took a temperature scan flying high. Oh, okay. I thought I was all done that. I'm going to try my maneuver executor. So we'll stop a couple of minutes early and we'll run our execute the maneuver. There it goes. And I stopped early because it's going to take its time to get to the maneuver. Okay. So all we got to do now is reach these orbital parameters and we should be all good. Oh, these reaction wheels are so painfully slow. These are batteries at the top, they are. I think it was more dependent on the engine gimbling than anything. But it's getting there. Give a little time warp assist here. And if you're wondering about the little roll that it does once it's on the vector, that's KOS. Because once you point it at something, it will always orient itself so that like the ground is on the bottom of the nav ball. So that's what it's doing right now. Sky is up, down. That's obviously a good thing for planes. For rockets, it doesn't matter. But it does it as the default behavior. You can get in there and get it not to do that, but I just don't see any reason why. Okay, so we're almost there. Do a little more time warping. So the other thing I like about KOS is that it allows me to take a look at the chat a little bit better while this runs automatically. So we got 5 seconds here. This should click on pretty soon. 1. There it goes. A little late. I don't know. Maybe I'll pretend that the game is off rather than me being off. Is this... Oh, wow. Why is that TWR so low? I don't know why I ever set that so low. Oh, well. I don't know. Yeah, the burn time's a lot. But I obviously at some point got into my head I should... Ah, well. Whatever. It's going to get it done. Thrust to weight once you're in orbit's not a big deal. It's overrated. My guess is I probably had an old probe here that didn't have this materials bay and the KOS core on it, and I just took that old core and stuck this on the bottom and never adjusted the engine. That would be my guess as to why it's like that. That's okay. No, I changed the TWR on the booster during the ascent, but I did not change this. And the KOS shouldn't be changing the thrust limiter. It just changes the throttle setting. Okay, so let's see how it does. So let's take a look at what we got here. Here we go. It says the burn's complete. Should we trust it? Do we say the burn's complete? I think that looks pretty good. I think he did a good job. Okay, so I'm going to run again that alignment script. And again, that's just for the solar panels. So I don't have to do it. It does it. And then while it's orienting itself, we will put a maneuver node here and we will do this insertion. And then, yes, then we will see if we can rescue ourselves a Kerbal. That is going to be the plan. Okay, and I can tell what I'm going to need to do. I want this, there is an argument of the periapsis, so this periapsis does need to be here. That means the apoapsis does need to be there, and we're going to accomplish that with some radial components to that, just like that. And then it's a little bit, I can see I got to take some of that retrograde out. It's going too far. That's already getting pretty darn close. I think I might get into little teeny tweaks now. A little bit of radial that way. A little less energy. Radial this way. And to be honest, you don't have to be this precise. Sometimes I get carried away. As long as you're like in the ballpark, it's pretty generous. It'll give it to you. I'm sure this is fine. We're calling that. How's the inclination look? Oh, that's why it's off a little bit. The inclination isn't right. So we'll come back. And now back to the radial. A little bit of retro. A little bit of radial this way. So basically it's radial to move the apoapsis and periapsis sideways. That's the way I like to think. It kind of in a rotational way around the orbit. Inclination's obviously the normal part, and then retrograde and prograde just to add or subtract energy from the burn, from the orbit. But I'm thinking that's pretty good. 498 meters per second. There's still, oh boy, not by much. 536 left, so we're okay, but not okay by a huge amount. This is still aligning. Is it still doing stuff? It's just really slow at it. Very slow. I didn't do something dumb like... Oh, the only reaction wheels are in the probe core. Ah, that's what it is. Yep, that is what it is. Almost there. Let me do another F5. Actually, while I'm doing that, let's open up Kerbal Alarm Clock. And we'll add an alarm for this maneuver, and we'll give ourselves about 3 minutes warning. Boom, like that. I'm going to do that rather than hit on this because this stops a minute before, and I'm not convinced that this thing can reorient itself in that short amount of time. Okay, it's good now with its reorientation, so we're going to time warp up there. Say goodbye. Has memory leaks ever been a problem with you in KSP? In the past, most certainly. I think KSP does have some memory leak issues. Not of recent, but if you play for a long time, I do find that the game starts to get a little sketchier. Like, and I'm talking hours. And you're better just shut it down, restart your computer. If you start to have memory leak issues, that to me is the solution. But I'm trying to think recently, and honestly, recently, no. But in the past, most certainly. Back in those alpha days. All right, so it's stopping 3 minutes early. Cool. We're going to run our maneuver executor. And it's going to take its time. This is why I waited 3 minutes. So I'm going to do a little bit of physics warping. Help it along. This should be the last of these really, like, look at these tanks that I have. These are all those Oscar A tanks. I have way better tech now. I just couldn't be bothered building something new. I'm just noticing when I hold the right mouse button, you can see all of these waypoints all coming up of various things in and about. Okay, let me get itself oriented here. Again, it's just going to roll so that the sky is up. Okay. All right. So again, this says 5 seconds. We'll see what this says. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and there's 3, 2, 1. So, a couple of seconds difference, but who's the judge? And this should be it. This should be now the... And then I'm probably done with these position a satellite in a specific orbit, unless I have one that kind of I want to do something with. But just to put a satellite up and for just this purpose, I think I'm going to be done with that. At least around Earth. Might still be heading for the moon. Where is the moon, by the way? Moon's a long way off in this game. It's hard to find, too, because it's in its inclined orbit. Okay, so we should be seeing this go green pretty soon. That is not green. Oh, yes, it is. It is green. I was waiting for all this to go green, but it's green. So it reached that. It's got to wait for 10 seconds. And then, yeah, there we go. Contract complete. Excellent. Okay, so that's done. That's done. That's done. Again, we'll run that alignment program. And this should be good. Maybe that's why I don't run into the memory leak issues, because of I do have the KSP community fixes installed. So maybe that kind of closes the door on some of those. Also, like, I don't tend to build a lot of high part count vehicles, and I think that plays into it too. Okay. I'd say that's it. I'm happy with that. That's that. That's that. That's that. Close that. And let's get ourselves back to the Space Center. And let's see if we can finally rescue us a Kerbal. Those Kerbals are desperate for a rescue. No doubt about it. They've been up there for a long time. Thankfully, until they render, their life support does not kick in. So they're okay. You can take your time as long as you don't end up rendering them. They're okay. Okay, we got some strangeness here with the launch clamps. All right, so let's see. We're going to just pick up one of them. So I could get another vehicle being built because I have a second bay, but you know what? I'm just going to get this done. Oh, research and development at the KSC. Oh, there we go. We've just upgraded the research and development center for the Kerbal. Nice. Okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. But what I really want to do is roll this out. And we got some sunshine. And we're going to launch it. And we're going to make sure nobody's aboard. So Jebediah, you get out of there. And we are going to... Actually, I'm going to do... Yeah, let's launch. We'll be okay. Let's see if we can get this done. Now, this is going to be a little tricky because they are in an equatorial orbit and we are not on the equator. And that makes everything a little more awkward. If you want to play, by the way, either real scale solar system or this Kerbin size real scale solar system, you can launch on the equator. You got to pick like French Guiana for the launch site, and then you're on the equator, and that does make it easier. But I kind of wanted to deal with this part. Okay, so here's our ship that we had just built. Now, one of the things we got to be careful about, again, we're just gonna just put there. There's our two. We're only gonna go for one of them, and no matter what we do, we're gonna go into an inclined orbit. Now, the way this is often done in the real world, and this kind of on my last in the comments section on my last stream, this came up. Me and another person were having a discussion about this, is you actually come down and try and get your apoapsis to be very close to where this orbit is. And then you do what's called a dogleg burn, which is a combination, get your periapsis out, so that you have an orbit, and also change the inclination and do those as a combined burn. And I think I'm going to go for that. But what I think I need to do is do that. First of all, what I think I need to do is modify my orbit. So my orbit program. So I'm going to just very quickly go into the studio here. I'm going to look at this section here, which moderates the thrust. And I'm actually going to comment all of this out. So it's not going to do this. I could probably do something a little more sophisticated than that. But you'll see, I'm hoping, why I'm doing this. So it's not going to moderate the throttle at all. And I should be able to just do this. And by commenting it out, I can just take the comments away. And, oh, why is there an error now? There's some things it doesn't like. Oh, yes, these lines here. Yes, so these parameters aren't being used. It doesn't like that. So we'll comment that out, comment that out. The PID controller is not used anymore. Comment that out. There we go. Oh, no, still some more errors. This is not being used anymore. Comment that out. One more error somewhere. It's not that red. Is it this? Am I messed up with I might be messed up. Oh, I got to take this one out. I got an extra curly brace. Beautiful. Okay, all the errors are gone. Okay. And I'm not going to explain it right now. I'll explain it when I'm going to do a quick save because I'm not 100% confident with what I'm doing. And I'm going to time warp until one of these vessels is coming up behind me. So it's going to be this one first. Who's coming up first? Javier. Javier is coming up first. And we'll stop, I don't know, around here. Okay. And we're going to run our orbit program. And I'm going to hope this all works out well. So run orbit. Again, I got to make sure that those engines all ignite. We're off. We're off. Code's still on the screen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe that alone should be... So what I did while that code was on the screen, well, obviously launched my program here, but I also... Sorry, go to map view. Is I also time warped until Javier was coming up behind me. You'll see why in just a little bit. And you'll see why as well I took out the bit about the thrust limiting. As much as I like the way it works. But one thing I noticed was when I was looking at my streams from before and I was running this orbit program, just by coincidence, the apoapsis, after it reaches its target's apoapsis of 80 kilometers, is very close to the equator. We'll see if that was just a coincidence or not, but I'm hoping that if I don't take off, if I take away the thrust limiter so it doesn't reduce the thrust... Oh, I gotta stage... Oh no, it's gonna stage automatically for me. It should. Right? Good rocket, good rocket. Okay. It should. Well, I'm glad you can make it, Rushglish. Hoping I'm saying that right. And, yeah, I'm really bad for leaving that KOS script stuff still up. Okay. So basically now it's going to be full throttle. You can see the throttle's not being limited. Blowing right by a minute now. Time to apoapsis. It is still locking to the prograde vector. That's a good thing. But it's just going to keep going until the apoapsis gets to 80. And I'm really, really hoping that that will be very close to the equator. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so 70 kilometers on the apoapsis and 80. Okay, and now we're going into map view. Oh my god, what kind of... Okay. Okay, clearly I am just 100%... 100%... Okay. Oh, what do I mean? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just abort this. Control-C. I thought I had this all set, but clearly my apoapsis is nowhere near. So what I'm going to try and do, I should have, whatever. I'm going to point down. What altitude am I at? Am I doing anything too scary? I'm not. I can lose the fairing. I'm going to point down. I'm going to try and see if I can push that apoapsis. SAS on. I'm doing this manually. I want to push that apoapsis without it getting large on me. So I'm pushing the apoapsis away from me deliberately. More throttle. Okay, and then I'm pitching down because I don't want it to get too high. So I'm pitching a little bit below the horizon. And I want to push this apoapsis. Oh, I need stage. I need a lot more throttle now. And I'm pushing this apoapsis down towards the equator. And apparently this is what they did in the real... Whenever they wanted to go... If they did want to go into an equatorial or low orbit, this is the thing to do. But of course, what do I know? I'm just making this up as I go along. Okay, so I'm a little bit again below. I'm a little bit concerned with my time to apoapsis is getting close to me, actually. I don't like that. I'm noticing this time to apoapsis getting closer. Let's go back down again. Okay, now I'm pushing the time to apoapsis away. Good. There's now I'm getting the action I want to see. I'm not sure I'm saving myself much, though. Boom. Right there. But my periapsis is already... Like, this is an orbit already. I don't think I saved myself much. I don't think I accomplished much of anything. Okay, we're going to set escape here as a target. Okay, so that's a maneuver I need to keep working on. Keep working on that one. So what we need to do is we need to match inclination. Okay, and we also... Okay, we got to bring that orbit down. And I'm also looking at these... Oh, I got a lot of icons all on top of each other, unfortunately. But I'm also taking a look at... how my separation is going to be. And this is showing me the separation on my next orbit. So actually, this is kind of working out pretty good. If I can get this separation down really low and the inclination matching all at the same time, that would be just really groovy. I would be very excited about that. You can see how expensive this burn is, but that's why I wanted to build a rocket that's got some oomph to it, as it were. Okay. I don't know what my apoapsis here is doing. Is this bringing them closer or further apart if I add more prograde? That's further apart, so this way. I'm seeing a close approach here. I think that's the one I'm going to go for. So you can see here I got about a 1.4 kilometer separation. Inclination's pretty darn good. I think I'm going to go for it. So if I do this burn, we got our inclination matched, and I've raised my apoapsis such a degree. This is why I wanted to be ahead of this guy, so that I'm slowing myself down enough so that when I get around to here, we're going to be matching again right around here. And hopefully, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so I don't think I did that quite super duper, but I don't think it's bad. Okay, so we got this burn coming up in 2 minutes, just actually under 3 minutes. That's full thrust. It is a 1.7 second burn, which honestly isn't terrible. I was really expecting it to be worse. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our maneuver executor. There it goes. This is a much more nimble spacecraft. We can extend those antennas too. Open the doors, extend the antenna. And all we got to, and then the rendezvous should be dirt cheap. The rendezvous should be nothing. Like, actually, you can get an idea how much the rendezvous is going to cost by looking at the relative speed. Relative speed is about 111 meters per second. That's about what the rendezvous is going to cost. And then we just got to deorbit. We don't have to get back to our other inclination. So I think that's pretty good. Wow, you can really get a feel for how much normal there is to this. By, like, how much of this is pointing towards the north. Okay, time warping. But this is going to be a nice little vessel for me, I think, because, like, we can do... we are doing... Forgot. But we can get ourselves to the moon. We've done the light experiment. No, it's waiting. What is it waiting for? Oh, it's done it all. Collected 2 science there. There is an hour's worth of this sight experiment to do. But also, like, this is a craft I think that can go to the moon and back without too much issue. Like, we'll have to check. It's I'm not familiar with all the DV numbers, but I'm hoping maybe it can at least do a flyby of the moon and come back. It might be able to do... Might be a little cramped for a Kerbal, though. All right, what do we got? We got 20 seconds to the burn here. No, the ISS is definitely not in an equatorial orbit. Yeah, it is in a... Jeepers, what is it? Like a... It's a pretty highly inclined orbit because it needs to be... The Russians need to be able to have access to it from Baikonur. So it is like 50 degrees or something like that inclined, something maybe even more, and you can tell because they can see the northern lights. They have lots of pictures of auroras from the International Space Station. So the International Space Station is in a very highly inclined orbit, specifically so that various people are able to get to it regardless of their latitudes. All right, here comes our burn. Nicey nice. And yeah, these plane changes are expensive. What's also scary about these plane changes is your periapsis always ends up dipping down. So like if you ever had an engine failure, you're going back down again. So these low altitude plane changes are always kind of sketchy, I think. All right, coming to the end. Oh, I can take a look too at here. See how close we end up coming. It's the second one. Should be pretty close. Oh my gosh, I had it set for 1.4 kilometers, and it's now 561.8 meter separation coming up in 30 minutes. I'm ecstatic about that. Okay. I think I'm going to close my KOS program. I don't think I need any more. We're going to get rid of that. Yeah, let's go get our Kerbal. So we are 30 minutes and 28 seconds away. Let's do it. I'm going to put this on this view. Cool. And if we can get that Kerbal, we can get the other one. We'll have to do that next week, though. And we'll get to meet Javier. I have no idea what class Javier is, whether we're going to get ourselves a pilot. I'm not even sure about the gender, to be quite frank. But we're going to find out. Oh, the number just jumped from intersect 2 to intersect 1, and it made me panic a little bit. Panic enough to do another quick save. And Javier, of course, is... Oh, and it's doing this thing. Notice when I time warp, it says now 11 minutes and 30 seconds. And if I time warp, it jumps up. So that's always something to be aware of. That when you're time warping, these maneuver indicators can move around on you. So be careful about that. It's an easy mistake to make. But Javier, by the way, of course, is one of my wonderful Patreon patrons and YouTube members. There's the moon there. A little crescent. Pretty sure it's what I'm looking at. 4 minutes still away, so let's get ourselves a little closer. I could use alarm clock to get me, like, you know, to set an alarm to stop me at the right time too. Okay, we're about 2 minutes away. We're on the target here, so let's put this on target. Which direction are we to Javier? Javier is below us. Right down there. So, let's see. I'm going to do a little bit of experimentation to see if I can find out which direction to kind of burn here a little bit. Try and make this encounter distance a little smaller. There we go. We're starting to make it a little smaller there. Down to 400 meters. I got a feeling I need to push it a little more this way, though. And 200. Well, that's about it there. And I know people always tell me you got to put it right onto the target icon, but that's not necessarily the case. See here, I'm actually pushing it away from the target icon and bringing down that encounter distance. And that's because we are not traveling in straight lines. That's what's going to happen. Now, one thing I do have to think about is my relative velocity. Let's lock this onto the retrograde vector and let's knock off some of this velocity. As long as you can push this time up, you're okay. It's when suddenly you find yourself that you can't push this time up anymore, that's when you know you're in a bit of trouble. So I'm trying to keep the distance to target from getting too large on me. If all of a sudden I see it shooting up, I'm just going to stop my burn. But I'm watching this time to apoapsis, especially, or time to apoapsis, time to intersect. I don't want to blow by my target. So we've knocked off quite a lot of velocity there. I'm going to let ourselves get a little closer. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was a very weird jump there. I did some time warping and it just sort of, I don't know if you saw that. That bothered me. Don't do that. It bothers me. See, it did it again. Okay, then stop doing that. Every time I time warp, it snaps up that way. That could have something to do with persistent rotation. I've noticed persistent rotation can sometimes cause weird things like that. I might not be fair in blaming persistent rotation, but I find it can do some strange things. Okay. Just again, slowing down. Whoa, whoa, I saw 13. I saw it go into the single digits for... But we are... very, very close here. Oh, yeah. I always get this comment on my YouTubes as well. My YouTubes is I'll have a tutorial on how to do this, and they won't be seeing this little rectangle, and that is F4 toggles that on and off. And by default it's on, but it's really, really easy to have it toggled off, and that's persistent. So the next time you forget that it's there, you toggled it off sometime in the past and then just forgot that you'd done that. Slowing down again. You might have seen those warnings come up about Javier. And then it said relax. That's because we got within the render distance, so it started looking at how much electricity and food and water and most importantly, of course, oxygen Javier had. And at first it kind of panicked and then it said relax. I don't know what version of Kerbalism they fixed this on, but in a previous version of Kerbalism, they spawned these things with no resources in them at all. And so when you got within the render distance, they had 3 minutes to live because that's how long you could live without oxygen. So like all of a sudden you got within render distance and it became a race. It was really, really scary. At least that's not the case anymore. Okay, how are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? My intercepts here got all messed up suddenly. I don't know what that's about. There, now they're better. I should be looking at my ignitions here. I only have 10 ignitions left. I got to remember not to be... It's not just... I don't have an infinite number of ignitions like in the stock game. So we're coming up. Not sure what kind of capsule he's in there. Looks interesting, that's for sure. Let's knock off some speed here. Get below a meter per second. There we go. Yeah, what cap? It's one of those... I think those B9 aerospace capsules of some kind. One of the airplane capsules they give you. Here, I'm just going to intentionally push that off a little bit. Whoa, I went too far. Are we now increasing the distance? We are. Okay, no more fussing about. I actually overcooked that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll this way. Roll the hatch towards Javier. Javier can deal with the EVA. So we will pop over here. Here we have Javier. Javier is a scientist. Very, very nice. And we'll do an EVA. And I just want to very quickly check his resources. He has monopropellant. He has oxygen. He has electricity. That is great. We're going to abandon Javier's Hulk. And we're coming on up like that. Actually, didn't I not have a contract to do an EVA? Did that just satisfy that contract? I'm not even looking at these contracts. I have a first EVA contract, and then there's a rescue Javier contract. Those are really the two. Oh, see, I did get credit for that EVA. I just have to land Javier back down to the surface of the Earth, and of course I have to bring him back down for this too. All right. So Javier becomes our newest member of our Kerbinaut Corps. We have ourselves a scientist. Kind of too bad. Bob, we haven't even done anything. Oh, dear. That was a miss. We haven't even launched Bob into space yet. So that's not exactly useful. Okay. Let's just open up KOS one last time. I never should have closed that window. And we'll run that alignment script. But he is aboard. We still have to get him back down to the surface, but that's not going to be a problem. But I'm taking a look at the time of the stream. I've gone over the 2-hour mark, which is always sort of my benchmark of when I think I should be probably saying goodbye. So what we'll do is next week, we'll get Javier down to the surface. We'll come back up. We'll take a look at rescuing maybe 1 or 2 more Kerbals, adding them to our Kerbinaut Corps. As well, I still got those satellite, MapSat satellite contracts looming over. I should really, really do those. But all of that is going to have to be for next week. So in the meantime, I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank everybody who's watching this at a later date. And of course, an extra special thank you to all of my Patreon patrons and YouTube members who support this channel and keep it running. And also thanks, of course, to the people that like and subscribe and do all of those wonderful things that keep feeding the algorithm. Have yourselves a fantastic week. Don't forget RP1 on Saturday, and then we'll see you all again next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.